What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Big 12 Newsletter Houston edition. I am your host, Garrett Ross. Make sure you go to 365sports.video where you can sign up for the newsletter. We'll have it in your inbox every Wednesday around noon. We have every team covered in the Big 12. It is your one-stop shop to get everything you need to know about the Big 12 and every program within it. This week, man, Houston, bowl eligible, baby. We knew this was going to happen. We had a good feeling last week. We liked this matchup. We were talking about Arizona. Now, this is one where Houston's defense, I was a little disappointed in how they finished things out. When you have a lead at halftime, a two-score lead at halftime, and you take it into the fourth quarter and you allow 14 points in a team to come back in the game and essentially set you up for a walk-off situation, that's not ideal. I think that Houston should have put the clamps down on Arizona, but hats off to the Wildcats. You kept fighting. You knew this was a good team. Noah Fafita is a really good quarterback. They have playmakers all over the field. And they're kind of looking back at the week prior, how things just got away from Arizona at the end with BYU. A lot of question about how Brent Brennan handled that. So if you're from Arizona or from an Arizona perspective, you like how they kept fighting at the end. But if you're Houston, man, that defense, you've got to put the clamps on, and you can't let them get back in the game. But regardless, you get the dub 31-28. Ethan Sanchez, once again, we've talked about this kicker all year long. And we know that right now in college football, it takes all three phases of the game to be really good and to win. Like, the parity is there. Everybody's got dudes. The depth, you can't just hide depth anymore. So having a weapon like Ethan Sanchez to really take a game over, or to rely on him in clutch moments to come through and get kicks, and not just close kicks. I mean, we're talking from a distance here, 40 plus, the guy's money. But he comes in, probably the biggest kick of the year, honestly. He kicks the field goal. Houston gets the win as time expires. And Ethan Sanchez, for the second week in a row, is your big team special teams player of the week. But it wasn't just Sanchez that came up big. Connor Weigman, once again, had a tremendous game. And we've talked about Connor Weigman all year long, how Houston has really got the most out of him since coming over from Texas A&M. And I kind of look at how Willie Fritz and offensive coordinator Slade Nagel handed things in Tulane. And what you had there, I see Connor Weigman is pretty similar as what you had there with Pratt. And I think what you're getting with Connor Weigman is self-confidence. I think that Houston has finally shown him that, hey, man, we believe in you. We believe in your abilities, and what your abilities are taking over a game with your feet. We know you can throw. We know you can win games, but you were a true dual threat coming out of Bridgeland. You were a five-star true dual threat. And for whatever reason, Jimbo Fisher did not utilize that and take advantage of it at Texas A&M. I also know that injuries played a big factor in this. If you go back and look at his senior year at high school, Weigman was injured there as well as a couple of times at A&M. So I know that put a hinder on him, but I also think it was a mental block, right? And just, I feel like he didn't have the faith in the people, or he didn't believe like the people around him had the faith in his ability to still run. And I think going to Houston, getting in a system that fits you and believes in you, and just finally saying, you know what? We know what you do. We know what you're capable of doing. Take over the game with your feet and be able to do that. Connor Weigman had a phenomenal game here. The second leading rusher on the team. He finished with 90 yards. He had 4 touchdowns all game long, 1 on the ground, 3 through the air. But he was just dominant. He was confident in his rushing ability, and it's good to see that. I think being in the right system, having the right mindset around him is really impressive. But it wasn't just his ability to take over the game. You got to give a lot of credit to the offensive line. And we've talked about the offensive line all year, how about it's in flux. You've had to battle injuries, and they've been resilient. And I really love to watch this unit grow. Are they great? No. Are they the best? Are they a top-tier offensive line in the Big 12? No, they're not. But they handle business every week, and you know that you're going to give 110%, and you got to see that on Saturday because you didn't allow a sack for the first time since you played Houston last year. You allow Connor Weigman to ball out with the 4 touchdowns, and you just were blocking at an exceptional level. You had finished the game here with a 97.3% blocking ratio, or 95.7 blocking ratio. That is absurd. And just to be able to do that consistently and to have the belief down at the end in this unit to just rush the ball behind them, you dominated on 4th downs. You converted 8 third down attempts in this game. You converted 2 4th down attempts. And a lot of that goes to the confidence in the offensive line. If you don't have confidence in your offensive line, if they can go up there and bully people in those moments, then that's an indictment on your program. And I think Houston feels really confident right now in what they have. They believe in them. And you got to see that this week. And the unit was rewarded by being named the offensive line of the week for the Big 12. So, I mean, you had the kicker of the week, you had the quarterback of the week, you had the offensive line of the week. I mean, that's a clean sweep right there. So that was really impressive for Houston's offense. But looking at this game, Dean Connors finished the game, 20 carries, 100 yards. Solid performance by Dean. You know what you're going to get from him. Now, it wasn't all great, right? Like we mentioned the defense there and how they let Arizona get back in the game. You're also dealing with Stephon Johnson, likely out for the year. He's been your leading receiver all year long. This is a really big blow for Houston as you continue to drop players. You've lost people on the offensive line. We lost multiple running backs. Now you're losing your star receiver. And he went to social media over the weekend. We know how that can be, saying he was out for the year. And then Willie Fritz was asked about it on Monday. He addressed the media, said, we're going to get a second opinion on this, and then we'll go from there to determine, the extent of the injury. Is it really going to be season ending, or is this something where hopefully we can get him back later on in the year? Big blow for Houston there. We've talked about the passing game, the inconsistencies all year long. Hopefully Johnson can get back. If not, I think the offense is still going to be fine. They know their identity. They have their bread and butter there. But it's just another situation that you hate to see, and hopefully he'll get back. Also, another sad note for Houston, not with the current team, but you did lose a legend this past weekend. Warren McVea, the first Black player to receive a scholarship offer for your program, All-American, really just a great dude within the community, passed away over the weekend at the age of 79. Thoughts and prayers with his family. He's really paved the way for a lot of the opportunities you see right now with these guys, because if it wasn't for him going through all the nonsense with the segregation and just the crap that people had to go through back then, that, it's frustrating as hell for me to think about it personally. But for him to be able to be the guy that says, I'm going to take that on and just kind of lay the foundation for other people to go on and flourish behind me, that just takes a lot of courage. And that's really hats off to him, respect. Just a really sad situation there if you're Houston. But, hats off, RIP Warren McVea, a Houston great. But that's going to do it for this week. Coming up Saturday, you get Arizona State. I said I was going to do it for this week, but we need to finish this. Arizona State coming up. Arizona State's coming off a massive win. They upset Texas Tech. I didn't see this coming. I know Craig Smoak was all on this. He was 100% confident in this. I just wasn't sure, especially with Tech losing the defensive lineman earlier in the week with the trenches. I've seen inconsistency from Arizona State all year long. Sam Levitt is really good. I'm not going to deny that. Sam Levitt's a badass. But just watching them in person against Baylor, I was not really impressed with them. But hats off to the Sun Devils. Kenny Dillingham's a phenomenal coach. But they're ranked 24th. They are, like I mentioned, they're coming off that upset win against Texas Tech. Now, that's a physical matchup. If you're Houston, you bank on physicality. That's like kind of physicality in the trenches, just being bruisers and rushing the ball. So hopefully you can bank on your physicality to wear Arizona State down. I don't necessarily know that you're going to be able to get a dub here. I know last week we were mentioning if Sam Levitt was out, this could be one you're still in. Sam Levitt's not out. Sam Levitt's back. Jordan Tyson's balling. I just don't know if the secondary for Houston can hold up against that. I think you can get a pressure. I think you can apply pressure, and you just hope that Arizona State's beaten up from last week and that carries over into this week. I think it's going to be a close matchup. I don't see Houston getting blown out. I do see a way. I mean, Houston can get a win here. I'm not saying they can't, but this is going to be a tall task for them. But if you are able to go out and get a win, that would be knocking off a top 25 opponent, with the Sun Devils being ranked 24th. That game's going to be on ESPN2, kickoff at 7 p.m. Make sure you check that out. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Big 12 Newsletter Houston Edition. Make sure you go and sign up for our YouTube channels if you haven't already over on 365 Sports. Shout out to Rogue Media for putting this together and making this possible as we continue to grow the Big 12 Newsletter. I'll be back next week. I'm Garrett Ross. Peace.